could well be. Let's get underway.
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited to see how this plays out because, yeah, look, I can vividly remember the Elevate IG game, and I know that's a bit different to the stats that Chiefs have provided, but that was still a very well-fought game from Elevate and some winnable rounds there from them that went begging. I think just given how well Elevate showed up on Kafe, I have high hopes, I guess, of how they might perform here on Skyscraper.
There we go. Thatcher Band comes in. This time, Chiefs playing it a little bit safer. Not to say that it wasn't as safe on the last map, but Twitch is being left in to the fullest extent. Kaid taken off. Now we're starting to see some serious bans. Elevate. What will they go for? Onigiri does have the free use of the Aruni here, so who knows? No one does. Valkyrie is banned out to chop things off. Nothing really actually out of the ordinary there, Raven. Maybe you could probably point to the Finker and go, interesting, but more often than not, that looks pretty clean.
Yeah, I think the Finker one is definitely going to be a good question at some stage to ask Elevate because it is really their insta-ban, but I feel like it's just the matter of that Finker's pretty strong, brings nades, can boost teammates, can revive teammates remotely. You know, it's a pretty strong utility these days, and rightfully so. You know, Finker's pick rate has absolutely skyrocketed. I mean, let's look at the playoff pick rate for Finker. Her pick rate is 56%. That is the highest of any attacking operator. So I think there's a lot of ways that it's justified, even though I guess broad strategies. So, you know, you think about like a hard breacher or a Thatcher. Strategically, they have a lot of impact. I'd say Finker's not necessarily too deep into that category, but still a strong operator nonetheless.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's you know, a hard breacher is broad in the terms of the fact that you have so many operators that can do what hard breachers do, whereas there is only one Finker. So who knows? Maybe maybe there's a bit of a storyline for you. Maybe there's a bit of color casting for you. It's at Xenox Casts. I expect you to be asking the big hard-hitting questions here. When Elevate win, not if they win. It's going to happen. But focusing up T Karaoke on the agenda for Elevate to begin with. And Chiefs, only odd pick for me, is probably looking to Boydie on the Twitch. To which they banned, by the way. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
That's not ideal. There goes your hard breach. Sorry, your soft breach.
Yes, dedicated soft breach on the sledge, gone. Not going to be great. Very quick frag to lose as well. Elevate first 30 seconds, finding that opening. And yeah, T Karaoke, it is the most picked site. It is the most defender-favored site as well on Skyscraper. So certainly was always going to be locked in for round one here. In fact, for playoffs, that's a 70% win rate for the defense. That's a pretty strong win rate there. CH lucky, well, not lucky, unlucky to not find another pick from that angle. And first minute, Elevate looking pretty good.
Oh. Not going to find anything but the utility sitting on the outer exterior wall. As the rest of Chiefs look to sweep. I don't really know whether I've seen a different style take so far in the playoffs. It does feel like whenever you're up against that karaoke kind of hold, you are going to sweep all the way across. Very often do we see teams not even worrying about contesting Black Stairs until the latter part of the round. Just really trying to get an idea as to where they're trying to open things up. And I'll tell you what, Sap are lucky to be alive.
A little bit, yep, breathe on him and he's going to fall over, so going to have to be pretty careful. Still holding some really strong positions from Chiefs, from Elevate here though, sorry, and Chiefs really needing to make some forward progress in towards site. You know, Worthy trying to really contest and clear out Geisha, that's going to be such a critical moment. And actually isn't quite sitting in Geisha anymore, and Chiefs really delaying this one. So, I don't know, I haven't really quite figured out the exact direction here for Chiefs. Boydie is the one with the Diffuser. I think he looks like he's repelled over on Karaoke. Seems to be where they want to get their plant down, but they just haven't really been able to do a whole lot with Elevate's positioning.
They have not broken the bank account, not even once. They've got some damage done, but that's about it. DCH continues to be a nuisance here. Chiefs are not being given it in, and things are looking drastic. Boydie makes his way in on the back of a smoke. Quick trades. In fact, Bouncing doubles down. Digital might be able to sit and hold. Does Bouncing get caught out? We look to the kill feed to find out. No, it is a big, enthusiastic no, as it's only Boydie and Digital left in a 2 versus 3. Elevate, they have to play for patience here. They don't want to overcommit with Digital going down. It's only Boydie in a 1 versus 3. He's shut down immediately. Once more, Elevate start on the right notes.
That's it. Look, Chiefs really struggled to get enough progress to make that plant work there, and also right out of the gate, first 30 seconds, Elevate that opening pick onto Ethan. That's certainly always going to help things. But statistically, that round should be generally a lock-in on the defense. Good to see Elevate start on the right foot there. See how they can progress through to the next site in Exhibition Office.
Bit of spice from the Chiefs. Sorry if that's absolutely murdered any headphone users then. Didn't realize the S was going to have such an emphasis on it. I do, you know, time management can just be such a fickle factor to Siege. Chiefs not really utilizing it there to the fullest extent. I mean, setting it in with Boydie, that was a decent mark to begin with, but the rest of Chiefs crumbling around. Now, I look to this double wall holder, because Elevate have been quite proficient in being a nuisance. Obviously not holding off and being able to waste all that time, but they are quite a nuisance when it does come. We see swings all the way from 90. General congestion. We've got 2 gates on that double wall as well. So whether Chiefs do decide to kind of put the emphasis across or not, keep an eye on the trajectory of this round, but I would love to see extensions from Elevate. I would love to see them, as they always do, getting in the face of Chiefs early on.
I think that's the thing for Chiefs as well, is trying to identify early just exactly the strategy here for Elevate. If there's an extension across the top 4 towards Karaoke T, then look, maybe Chiefs favor mostly trying to approach external, which is something you can do with Office Exhibition. There's the external wall facing the vents side that you can open up, and that clears out the office position, and then it's a matter of just trying to flush out Exhibition. Maybe you take Shrine. Hard to say, but you have to kind of make those calls early, because it can be a little bit challenging on Skyscraper in terms of timing. Similar to Kafe in a way, but maybe not so much as, don't know what the right word would be, as grindy, if you will.
Because you haven't cast in a while, have you?
Hey, look, maybe. Also, COVID brain is my excuse.
COVID brain really do be a thing. Look at Dev, for example.
Yes.
Now, bit of flank watch coming out from the Chiefs. Nothing from Elevate really indicates that there's going to be a hard flank, but Mark does go down. From Lucy, that is a very strong little, I would say, fighting operator on the defense, to say the very least. Little taps on the head from Mark, and you could be well and truly gone skis. Onigiri goes down too. It's crumbling here for Elevate. There is no response, but we've seen in a 3 versus 5, a wounded animal is more dangerous than that of a confident one.
Definitely true. 2 big players to take out as well. Onigiri and Mark certainly both had some decent impact on Kafe. So much better starts around here for Chiefs. Got a minute to shape up for this execute now, and they've got some really decent map control. DCH sitting in a tough position here in the first floor of Bathroom. 4 players nearby, one in particular that's getting vert. He might be able to pounce on here. A Gemini Replicator, he knows he's just got this in the bag. He's going to walk up to Ethan and knife him. At least gets 1 back for Elevate to try and salvage it.
That could have been big if he'd put himself in a decent position. If the Chiefs had been close, that would have been devastating, but it looks like things are going from bad to worse here. If the opportunity opens up, DCH and Zappa, we've seen them clutch before, and I tell you what, we will see them clutch again. They still haven't got the double wall open, which means sight is safe to play from.
Certainly is, and in good positions as well. Chiefs are the ones that have to make the move. Zappa, pretty critical gunfight. He wins it as well. DCH wins his. And just like that, Manic, Elevate, they come out on top of that round.
Like dominoes, they fall, Raven. almost a second in between. You almost see all 3 kills on your screen there. Elevate, once again, are down in the man advantage, and they continue to claw these rounds back. Onigiri's smirk, his smile, his laugh says it all. What was a 5 versus 3 turned to a 2 versus 4, turned into an unbelievable finish to that round.
It really did, and again, really well played from Elevate, standing strong here on these first 2 defense rounds. That one in particular, very impressive. You know, they were really on the back foot of that one. Chiefs really on track to close it out, but not to be. This is really good defense half so far from Elevate. Of course, only 2 rounds, but tracking nicely. You know, if they jump out to a 5-1 half lead, I know we've talked a lot about Skyscraper's defensive-sidedness, but it's always a comfortable position to be in. Only 2 rounds away from securing the match. You kind of have that faith then that you can scrap together, you know, just 2 attacks, right?
Yeah. I guess that's all it can take. So the hope is still there for the Chiefs. 50% of the rounds remaining is all that is needed, and as we head to a tertiary site, this is the opportunity. This is where you open the bank account, crack the egg, to create the startings of the omelette. Add a couple of little pieces of garnish to it. So not going to jump ahead too far. Top 4 hold, so important for this site, keeping that vertical control. I would say it's almost as important as when we look to a map like Kafe with the reading site. Top floor is just completely open for the construction. So if you lose it too early, you're going to be running around like ducks lining up, essentially. Anyway, Onigiri, it's not Onigiri, it's Mark on the Aruni all the way across, showing face toward VIP.
Is definitely some good map spread here from Elevate. Going to make Chiefs just have to be very cautious on their progress. Doing pretty good with drone economy though. Definitely always seeing fairly high drone count through these first 90 seconds, making sure that they're not giving them up without capitalizing on something at least. So it's certainly going to have to be a growing trend moving forward, but this is always the easy part, right? They've taken the opposite side of the map here for map control, but this is where they have to really start to squeeze out Elevate's position. They're trying to hold vertically through Karaoke T for the first 4 bomb site. So really critical kind of 30, 40 seconds coming up for Chiefs.
Hey? Come on, Worthy. How long have you been playing the game for? That's a manic thing to do, not a Worthy thing. Anyway, we catch them all on camera. The clutches, the blunders, they all form into one here. Boydie needs to find this opening, and Mark is just too elusive. Minute 15, Chiefs, they're starting to get a move on. They're starting to get closer to this top floor clear, but it's nowhere near confirmed yet.
Timing here as well. A couple of picks just going begging for Chiefs. See Elevate, they've done a really good job burning time here. We're 2 minutes deep. You still don't really have this vertical control, and of course the site is below, so even with it, there's still some work to be done, and Ethan loses a such critical gunfight there as DCH backs up for another. Chiefs, they fight back with Boydie as another trade comes through in the favor of Elevate. They're in a 4v1 situation now, Rob. All falling apart here for Chiefs. Completely fallen apart as Elevate close out yet another round.
3 rounds straight, all would be somewhat tilting for the Chiefs. I would imagine soon there will be a tactical timeout called for them. They want to break this momentum. Surely they do not want to allow Elevate to head back into it. I tell you what, put me as the coach. Sign me up. Put me in. I'm ready.
Yep. That's a good time to call a timeout. I agree. 3 rounds in a row. I think it's one thing to be losing defenses on Skyscraper, but this is Chiefs map pick. There's a couple that, I mean, round 2 in particular is definitely going to stand out as a round that went begging for them. They should have won that one. And then that round in particular just really fell apart. You know, they took all of 2 minutes to take from one side of the map across, and they didn't really even flush out the Elevate players. They just got absolutely gunned down. And then at that stage, it was just all but too late. You know, Boydie tried to frag back, but Elevate just had such strong control over that Karaoke T side. They could just easily trade it out, and that was it. So yeah, Chiefs really struggling on those first 3 attack rounds.
Got to find a way back into this. You know what? Looking at the cams, I would say that Chiefs are actually taking this quite seriously. There seems to be an air of a bit of frustration around this. So this is not the way this storyline goes. This is our map pick. Elevate should not be dictating how this is playing out. But there's no doubt, there is not a shadow of a doubt that Elevate are well and truly deserving of the control that they've got so far. Looking to the Chiefs now for some sort of a response. They've been close on a couple occasions. A 4v2 going awry. The first round even, you could argue, 3v3, there's an opportunity there. They have to convert this one.
Really don't want to let it get away from them too much. You know, it's one thing to talk about how certain-sided a map is, but you still have to play it on the other side, right? So even if they go down 0-6 right here, really don't want that, because again, it's kind of the psychology of it. You look at the scoreboard, if you're Elevate and you're up 6-0 from a perfect defense half, sure, all the odds might be against you on the attack, but you look at that and it gives you that belief, right? You can look at it and be like, all right, we just need to scrap together 1 round. Could try rush for 6 rounds, you know, one of them might stick. It's kind of more about managing that in a way.
Half of this game is really management, isn't it?
Yeah.
Managing expectations, managing what, you know, roams, flanks, aggression. Truly is just a big old game of cat and mouse sometimes, and ensuring that you don't get caught chasing a Jerry, if you will. Jerry gets away from Tom far too often. Far too often. And it looks like Elevate may well too here if they're not careful, if they are not going to keep this first half intact. 4-2, doable. 5-1, that's when things start to get a little bit iffy.
Yeah, I think even looking at an 0-4 scoreline would be a bit scary here, so Chiefs certainly want to try and back up a good round. There is the opening pick going in favor of Onigiri, but at least that one traded out. Also, Boydie on the Twitch, you know, again, not a massive impact, at least strategically, for Chiefs to lose Boydie early.
Oh. Not ideal. They've now got, at the very least, a little bit of a god spot at the back of Geisha with that wall still being fortified. Player from stairs just peeking over the edge and taking out the remaining ex-Kairos that the Chiefs had to play with. On the back of this now, a minute left. Once again, the game of timing is going to play a huge effect. If Chiefs let this run away, there's just not going to be enough to play with.
Well, they're acting a lot of old info, it seems, with these frag grenades as well. The last attempt, they used both in the kitchen to try and clear out Geisha, but player rotated into Drum. And, wasting both. Bouncing's been downed, and that's going to be confirmed. So 3 versus 3, but you kind of highlighted it. It's the time factor that's starting to kick in. Only 30 seconds to go. Chiefs finally do have a man advantage for this one, so it's looking good. This could be the round that they turn it around.
Tell you what, when Sapper's alive in a 2vx situation, it almost always has been converted in this game, and it may well be done yet again. Digital, he makes the long cross, the dangerous cross at that. Karaoke now in full control of the Chiefs, but the rest of it isn't. There's nothing left for them to play for. 10 seconds left. Digital has to go for kills here. If he goes for the plan, it's going to be all too easy, and he won't be given an opportunity. Another 2vx situation for Elevate, and things are crumbling for the Chiefs.
They are. They can't lock in these rounds that they're in the winnable position. I mean, we talked about round 2 in particular. That one still stands out the most. But even that one, you know, Karaoke T, challenging attack, they had a really good man advantage, 3 versus 2, coming to the final 30 seconds. So, got to say, it felt like they were kind of favoured in that one. The momentum had swung in their side at the right time. They had done a lot of things slightly better, at least in the early rounds. But, once again, in that disadvantaged situation, Elevate doing a really great job just salvaging these. They're out to that 4-0 lead. Yeah, it's getting a bit worrying here, Manic.
And it is. If you don't stop the bleeding, if you don't slow the bleeding, well, you're going to pass out. Right now, Chiefs aren't so much looking at passing out as they are as being knocked out of the playoffs in this lower bracket. They'll finish only with $1,000 in their pocket, which is nothing to scoff at, of course, but when first place could potentially take away 10 times that, and then you start to talk about, you know, the implications of seedings. Who knows? Maybe it will come back to bite the Chiefs if they're unable to get back on that saddle. Dust off the dirt that is currently sitting on their back. But Elevate are making worth every second that we are watching so far.
Big round for Chiefs now. They need to finally get 1, if not 2 rounds back on the scoreboard. Honestly, if they salvage this half to be a 2-4, it really wouldn't be the end of the world. It's still, honestly, still a very manageable scoreline, if not a totally okay scoreline from their attacks. So all is not lost. It's just an issue of momentum and also an issue of closing it out, as we've said. So, kind of dig deep. They almost won this round on the previous attempt, in round 2. It was the one that we really felt like they had in the bag, and that was just absolutely insane from Worthy on that DCH run out. I think DCH just not really looking above him. I don't know. It didn't seem like he was really aware of Worthy's position at all.
That was no, I mean, I was looking at past results from APAC, and I kind of looked back, and all I saw was this little ant running out, and Worthy just snapping onto the head of it. Now, that's an opportunity that I don't think Chiefs have had in some time. An opening pick that they might be able to convert off the back of. Once again, we look to a western side sweep from Geisha across. For whatever reason, Chiefs have a tremendously hard time opening up double wall in this matchup in particular, which can just be so important. That is probably the biggest balls move play I've ever seen.
Very risky, but hey, Safa has managed to find a pick. It's traded once again from Worthy. He's down on the jump out and not finished off, actually. This is really Elevate in a 3v2 situation. They might try and save Worthy. Nope. Nope, they are not. Angry X on that C4. Once again, Elevate, even though Chiefs in a great position on the early pick, Elevate have turned it around.
Oh, Ethan. Gnarly little hip fire to ADS. Oh, the timing on the gate. Not ideal for Ethan. Can still convert this 1v2, and all it's going to take is Elevate really just to step a little bit out of reach, and for Ethan to isolate one of these 1v1s. Lovely time on the pop of the canister, but still 30 seconds left. This is enough time for Ethan to work with.
Left that BPC up as well, so they have some info at least that he's rotated off. They're probably expecting Shrine though. Gone all the way under. That frag grenade's going to give away his position coming in through the vertical. Spotted on the default. Time for Elevate to dig in. 20 seconds to close this one out.
Oh my god, the canisters are used to perfection. The Vulcan canisters. Who knew? Ethan now trying to isolate 1v1s. He'll be given an opportunity, but yet again, Sapper steps up. He is having a phenomenal performance in this best of 3, and it may well be done in 2.
May well be done in 2. They're out to this 5-0 lead, and once again, even when Chiefs had a great start, Worthy getting that opening pick. Once again, Elevate's done a good job turning that momentum mid-round. And I had to feel a bit sorry for just watching Ethan then. Every attempt of a rotate, like you could see it ticking through his mind. He's like, okay, I'm not going to go that way. That's where they expect me to go. I'll go a different way. So he tried to go Terrace, and then that was when the first Vulcan Shield or Vulcan device, I can't even remember what to call it anymore. The first time that blew up and he had to go in a different direction, and he was spotted by a BPC and then spotted by a default, and then another one was blown up in that little office entrance area. Like, oh man, there's just nothing he could have done.
No, not really. Not really. Poor Ethan. Wasn't given all the greatest opportunities, all the greatest openings. And I think that that attests to the difference between what Chiefs have been able to achieve versus what Elevate have been able to achieve. When Elevate are in the advantageous positions, they're confirming them. They're well and truly converting every opportunity that they get in a 2v3, 2v4, in terms of them being up in the man count. And then when you look at them in a 2vx situation, they are winning those too. It just doesn't stop. Any way you look at this, Elevate are forcing this game to a place, and I'm sure the Chiefs are feeling quite uncomfortable with at the moment. 5 rounds straight for Elevate now, as Chiefs are struggling to bounce back.
It's not for lack of trying. Look, they've had some pretty decent rounds. It's just Elevate constantly stepping it up. Last round of the half. super important one for the Chiefs to get, just to stay in it. Of course, not to let Elevate get out to that 6-0 lead, which means they're only 1 point away. Critical for momentum and critical even just for, like I said, even the psychology of looking at that scoreboard. It will be a tough second half for Chiefs if they lose this one.
Here we go. Opportunity does not go begging this time. Zappa. I mean, that's an awfully ambitious attempt. Prone underneath the castle barricade, and it is nothing but the sledgehammer that opens it up, and it's a hook, line, and sinker. This one's looking a lot more convincing, but the problem is they're going to deal with some of these vertical lines that are still being howled. Very quickly, Elevate are going to be under the pump.
Yeah, it feels like this is progressing just a touch quicker than last time. Now, of course, it was about 2 minutes of Chiefs taking, off this exhibition before starting to really progress towards the other side and pushing out these positions, and ultimately it fell apart. So this is slightly quicker. Unfortunately, yes, Worthy has been taken out now. Even men count. So that early advantage has been taken away from them. This is really critical next 20, 30 seconds here for Chiefs. They need to get a pick, maybe another from Elevate, or at minimum, they need to flush out these positions. But Elevate once more, Rob, standing up, holding their ground.
This is absolutely insane. I don't think I've seen Elevate play so methodically in a year's time of watching them every single play day. Angry X gets caught on the rotate back out. Digital is completely tunnel visioned, and Boydie trying to catch the backside of Mark. Now they know exactly where Boydie is. By the way, sight underneath, hit down. And Angry X will close it out. Elevate once again. From a man disadvantage, bring it back.
Perfect defense half from Elevate. Honestly, they played really well. I don't want to take anything away from them. They played fantastic. Obviously, they just got 6 rounds in a row. But look, Chiefs had a couple of really winnable rounds there that just went begging, and they could have been invaluable to the stance of the game, the momentum of the game. Again, the look and feel of coming into their second half now on the defense. Sure, Chiefs are probably favored to win quite a lot of these. They could always reverse sweep. I don't want to count them out. They could go 6-0 themselves, push us to OT. But it's always hard. Elevate, they're a match point. They just need to muster one attack win, and this map is theirs. The series will be theirs.
Yep, certainly will be. And it'll be one for the books, that's for sure. A 7-0 would be something that I don't think any of us would have expected. Remembering, this is the map that Chiefs 7-2'd IG on to confirm their place to come to the playoffs. That has, in turn, booked them an opportunity to go to the major. They're currently being handed their butts. Regardless of what you want to say about strat hiding or anything like that, this is a solid, solid performance from Elevate and should be looked at as such. Quick one to get us done for the night. I'll tell you what, Guz and Dev, bit of egg on your face, boys. Expected a bit more from our local analysts. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
From bad to worse. That is going to be the title of this game.
A little bit. Yeah, this is just not going right for Chiefs at all. But still an opportunity. We saw Elevate losing that first player multiple times in that first half and still being able to turn it around. Could be the same fortune for Chiefs. We will see. But it's a great start for Elevate. First 30 seconds in. Onigiri already with a beautiful cutoff here from the bathroom through restaurant. That says you're about to catch a rotating player. No, that's in service, but still very close to pinching this player in service. But Bouncin comes out on top of that gunfight.
That's lovely. If Bouncin might find a second note. Onigiri, I think he knows that he may have downed him. I don't know whether the Chiefs are going to risk a player to try and pick him back up. They're not. Not from what we've seen on the outlines. He is down by himself as an individual and soon to be gone. Angry X with the free kill. Elevate yet again. Persistence is key. The continuation from the first half to the second half is looking deadly.
It is. Boydie getting aggressive, though. This could be huge for Chiefs. But unfortunately, the timing not working out in his favor. We're now halfway through this round. And Chiefs are in a disadvantage. You can see there's some really patient positions being held here from Elevate. Boydie, though, he might find A jump? No, he's not going to find a jump. He went a different direction. Don't mind me. These outlines are absolutely tripping me out.
Yeah, no, there was an opportunity for him to catch someone out rotating. He still may do so, but it really counts onto this player that's outside. Does he find the opportunity? It's on a Giri that falls, and unfortunately, they do not find the timing to finally trade back onto Boydie. A 3 versus 3 Angry X is putting in the work. DCH as well. This may well be over in a little less than 7 rounds. Buckle up. The Chiefs on the verge of finishing, falling out in the playoffs here. It's about to happen.
Happened indeed. 40 seconds. 2v1. Ethan. Got a lot to do here to save this one for Chiefs. He's tagged heavy in that gunfight. Doesn't get a bullet to elevate. Time on his side at least. He can try and ride this one out a little bit longer as 20 seconds hits the clock.
Plant should be secured here. Ethan on the cross. Doesn't find the opportunity. The peak from Mark will confirm 7-0. That is all that was needed on Skyscraper. And 2 maps is all that's needed for Elevate to knock Chiefs out of the playoffs. Of course, they still will be headed to the Charlotte Major, but in 4th seed with only $1,000 in their pocket. What a performance from Elevate.
Look, massive credit to Elevate. They had a lot thrown at them from Chiefs on both maps. Obviously, Kafe in particular, I think Chiefs put in a really solid fight. Elevate did a good job getting on top of that one. And then Skyscraper, look, I would say the scoreboard wasn't super indicative of how that match felt. That first half really felt more like a